meaningful conversations with many adults on the subject. The conversations she's had them with her friends, and she said it out of her own mouth, man. But my friends only know as much as I know. So really, Dad, we don't know anything. And that was her,
Yeah.
And London. So London was, and I'm thankful. I'm thankful that she put me in a situation. Now, clearly, like I say, a different subject. But I'm thankful that she put me in a situation to be a teacher. She invited me right there, So we got to look for those things in our children, man. And we got, even if I don't have the information myself, so that's where the show comes from, where I sit my child down, put this on the internet, on the laptop, and let it play for the 15, 20, 25 minutes that it's going to play. Make sure my child understands, maybe not word for word, but what are they talking about and why? Because you said something important. Make sure you do business with a banking institution, FDIC insured. Make sure. My mama taught me young, man, your credit. Credit is important. Credit is your name. Credit is your life. I was able to buy a house when I was 25, 26 years old. I had better credit at 23, 24 than I did at that moment, per the loan officer, what he stated. But I had excellent enough credit at that age because I was taught before I got that age how important it is for my numbers to be good at that age.
Proactive, not reactive.
Correct. Now, real life happens. So we teach our kids, and it's not just for the children. It's not just for the youth. We teach the other adults that might be lacking the knowledge, or one of those of us that need to be encouraged. Your credit report tells the story of your life. Therefore, a lender has to read the whole story. And what that would mean, there are situations in which someone can have a foreclosure on their credit report, but then have worked positive revolving loans and
1
like
year.
I stated, work the loan process on their report, and that person, even though they have a negative ownership of a home, you don't know the scenario.
Right.
Maybe they had property in more than one city or more than one state at the same time, housing market crash, etc. But the story that the credit report would tell could possibly get that person approved for a home loan before an individual that have never, ever been approved before. Why? Because his or her story would tell he can get, maintain, and try to manage through a home loan, have done it before. The only reason that it didn't work out, maybe they tried to flip a piece of property, or maybe life took them, like I say, job or et cetera, to another city or another state. So the story that your credit report tells is important. So taking one or two bumps and bruises is not the end of the world. Look at your credit as something that you constantly have to work on, like your resume. You constantly have to work on, like your relationships. You know what I mean? So we teach our kids now, work on it. From day one, this is your job. Keep this straight, keep that straight, keep this understood, keep that learned. Here we go.
And
so
those habits, those habits become a way of life. It just becomes normal. They set a routine in taking care of their business, and then now their business is not taking care of them. And then now when they become homeowners, they're not house poor. House poor being explained is that you have a house. Hey, my friends are going out for dinner tonight. Can't go. Can't afford it. Hey, let's go out to the movies. Can't go. Can't afford it. We need a new car. Can't get one right now. Can't afford it. Now, that means you're house poor. You got the house, but the house really got you, right? Because you're not able to move on beyond things. You got into the property. And so the main thing with Money Mondays and these conversations we have about financial aspects and economical empowerment conversations, if you will, is not just to get you in the property, but then also expand your horizons beyond then. And now you have extra money to invest, the extra things to what now your money is making money for you. You're paying bills off. Your category, what's going out versus what's going in, is shrinking. And now you're able to reap the benefits of your labor, and you can actually go to work or do your own entrepreneurship, whatever, and actually enjoy it better because it's not topsy-turvy. You're not paying 18, 19, 20% interest rate because your credit score dictates we got to charge you. We'll give it to you, but we got to tax you for it. We got to tax it because you didn't make those decisions when you were younger. So versus paying $30,000 for a car, now you have to pay $50,000 because of the interest rate and all that. And so that money you could be saving. That money you could be letting go to work for you. So a lot of times, because again, we don't look at those things as important, or we don't take the time to sit down and say, hey, let me talk to you for a minute, about this. I understand it's not the topic of the day. I understand this is not with sexy conversation, if you will, but it's necessary for everybody. Just like everybody has a heart. The heart functions well. If it functions well, then you feel well. Same thing about your credit. If it doesn't function well, then you don't feel well, and it messes up everything else.
Now, you make quite a few valid points, and I do, of course, agree with the majority of it. I do want to challenge one or two portions
yes, sir.
Because, like in the beginning, what you state, house poor, we do wind up in some situations that can very easily be uncomfortable, and by no means, do we encourage what would be frivolous spending, or what would we call falling prey to predatory lending and et cetera.
Yes.
Let's be intelligent. But we also have to, and I say concede a fraction of our expectation, let's say it that way. So we would concede a fraction of our expectation to the things that we get involved in, because really we don't know the true changes these things will have upon our life, our finances, and et cetera.
Definitely.
So let's just say, hypothetically, you buy the home, you and your spouse. Yes, the ideal thing to do would be to have 3 to 6 months of emergency fund put up,
mm-hmm.
you understand, pad the savings account, et cetera, et cetera. But the other thing to look at is there are times as a household where you do get strapped for liquid cash, and that's just what I call cost of doing business, welcome to middle-class America,
Well, yeah, these things happen. These things happen.
But I think we have to start focusing on and teaching our children that, and remember, the ultimate subject is building the wealth, the finances, the assets, be building things for the future. So we're behind. I'm going to struggle to put this together for London and for the next generation. The woman that I ultimately take as a wife, we're going to be putting together the blueprint.
Yes.
The blueprint ain't already put together for us, so we ain't following shit. And again, I apologize for the language, but you understand how serious that is. So, and that was intentional because we have nothing to follow. We're creating it from scratch. It's 2017. Our community is creating our blueprint for wealth within our generations of our families from scratch. It hadn't been put together for the last 25, 30, 35, 40, like other races and like other cultures have had the pleasure and the freedom to do. We're just now coming into the opportunity to create this kind of wealth for our families. So, yeah, we will struggle. But we started looking at, like, I put goals together for my 2016, and then I was able to come back and tweak those and enhance those, or et cetera, for my 2017. And what we would look at now is say, okay, my insurance game, my tax shelter game. And, of course, I always want to throw my bank account. And, you're notorious and, again, very well thanked and loved for the fact that you continue to preach the credit game to
yes,
our
sir.
community. So we took some things that are tangible/intangible right away. So you're not going to be able to put your insurance game together and dip into that shit because your rent is late. You understand? You're putting your insurance game, you put your insurance game together in the event that something happens to you as a primary breadwinner. Your family does not have to go into debt to manage and maintain what you're doing for them every day right now. Mm-hmm. You see? So we should, as men and as women, but definitely as men, have enough insurance on your name. If something happens to you, your debt is wiped clean, and your fam should have at least, I say, double digits. Now, it could be small double digits. It could be 10,000, but you should have a double-digit $1,000 cushion for the folks left behind that love you to kind of get through life. And again, most of your insurance, let's say, you paid off the house, you paid off any car debt, hopefully a few years of tax, property taxes, so ain't nobody tripping and slipping and falling over something, as simple as simply paying state tax and property taxes per year to keep a home, to keep a home in the name. But it's our job. That's our job. You understand? As that individual breadwinner. So now if you got a double income household, 2 breadwinners, now you're able to double up on this thought and on this theory. So here comes along the child, 10, 15, 20 years later, they still got a little piece of nest egg from your doing, your dealing. Then let it, God forbid, but then something happened to your wife 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years later. A little piece of something from her doing, her dealing. So now that next generation, they're a little better propped up. It's a little less pressure on them. It's a little more freedom in life. Mm-hmm. So now we can, it's time to turn our families around, man. You know what I mean?
Well, we have to. We have to, but a lot of times that doesn't occur because we're selfish or we are not trusting of the individuals that we settle down with if we really tell the truth. So we don't want to leave them a whole bunch of money because they ain't finna trick it off. So sometimes we fail to put the quality people in our life and around us to where we want to set them up like that. Because we just know they'll break somebody else off in a minute. So that becomes an issue and a problem. So it becomes that becomes an issue, and that has been an issue. So we got to break it down and just get that foundation settled first, right? Once we get that foundation part set, as you say, with leaving something back, with leaving residual, generational wealth, rather than leaving generational debt. Generational issues, generational curses. So we have to be able to lead that and give each person a starter kit. But as I just said, though, we got to be careful the kind of people we put into our life. So when we can make those kind of choices, we're confident that they're going to do the right thing, even with us not physically being here anymore. We're confident that they're going to do the right things by the people that you love and care about and that you left stuff to. That's why a will is important, or just some type of financial plan. We don't like to talk about these things a lot of times, but again, they're important. They're important to have. If nothing more, have a conversation with your spouse and write it down on a piece of paper. This is what I want you to do in the event of my death. This is what want to happen. I mean, just some kind of plan. Because we know we're not going to live forever and we're not going to be here forever. But while we are here, God told us he made us a masterpiece, so we want to enjoy it. We want to enjoy it while we're here, and we want to make this life as comfortable as possible for us while we are here, starting with the credit. First of all, starting with the mindset. Starting with the mindset to even think about the importance of credit or finances or economics, and then start with the conversation. Then share the conversation. Don't just be greedy with the information once you get it. Then share the information, and then watch and see the results go the way they go. Because if you're a seed sower, you just sow the seed and you keep it moving. Everything else is going to take care of itself. It's going to get the water, the nutrition, the sunlight that it needs. You just make sure you put it in the ground properly. And so that's what we're doing with Money Mondays. And I appreciate you, man, for stepping up and hanging with me tonight too. Because it's important to you as well, and I see it, and it's important to your daughter and London, and if her friends and my son and any of his friends listen to the show, anyone. You guys listen to the show, share it with as many people as you can, and let them know we coming from a grassroots level with this thing. We coming from the bottom, started from the bottom. Now we're here. We coming from the bottom, and we're going to explain it. Whether you 8 or 800, you're going to understand it because we all about solutions with this thing. That's what this thing's about. Not just money to have, the floss, and the throw in someone else's face, but just to be able to give yourself a comfortable lifestyle while you're here with the money that you're earning every single day.
Yeah, so. And, and you said quite a bit,
I always do. I
meant quite a bit positive, quite a bit affirmative, toward what we need to do and how we need to start thinking about it. And I always like to, and you got to understand, like day to day, I manage for a retail company. So, I'm attention to detail. Everything I learn, I have to put into the mindset of, how can I immediately turn around and teach this next person this new promotion, or teach this next person this particular change within a process or a company policy, or et cetera.
Right.
So, I have to always be in teaching mode. So that is more than true when it comes to being a husband, a provider, a father, stepfather, whatever role in the home that the man would take. So what I would say is, yes, ultimately our goal is financial freedom. And yes, ultimately, we want the people in our lives that we do care about and that care about us to act with integrity at all times, to be, considerate